Blood runs thicker than water. This old adage has been long thought to mean that familial ties are stronger than any friendship. However, many believe that the origins of this phrase actually lengthen to the blood of the covenant runs thicker than the water of the womb, meaning it's the family and friends that we have chosen that are the strongest bonds. But what happens when it comes down to family versus family? Blood versus blood? Brother versus brother? Welcome back to Effing It Up. Welcome back, feral listeners, friends, loved ones, strangers that found us on the internet. Thank you for being here at our podcast. Today, Laurel and I are going to talk the Yellowstone pilot, as recommended to me by a beloved co-manager. This is a dear friend, and we wouldn't want to say anything negative about the pilot that she so graciously recommended that we watch. Right, Laurel? We're going to be on our best behavior today? Do you want me...
Okay, let me just cross out all of my notes.
Do you want me to read the summary?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read the summary while you collect yourself?
I'll collect my...
Collect your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. All right, so let me read this summary real quick, just so we all are on the same page about what happens in the Yellowstone pilot episode.
Completely valid, because until I actually watched it, I thought it was about the national park. I had no idea what the show was.
Oh my god.
I was gravely disappointed. Sorry.
You were gratefully disappointed?
Gratefully, yeah, that's what I said. Gravely. Like the dead.
Okay, I'm gonna read this.
Yes, go on.
All right. In the series premiere of Yellowstone, John Dutton, patriarch of a mountain ranching family and owner of the largest ranch in the U.S., fights to defend his land and his family from the modern-day forces that threaten his way of life. Land developers, an Indian reservation, and America's first national park. And this is from the Yellowstone wiki page.
It is in the national park? I'm so confused.
Yeah. Bozeman, Montana, where the story takes place, kind of juts up against the Yellowstone National Park. But anyway.
Thanks for reading that. I
so
understand the show better now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So anyway, I've already gone over the plot summary.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we talk about our opinions about the plot in the first episode?
Okay, go ahead.
So I will say, in terms of plot and storyline, there was a lot happening.
Too much, some might say. Not me, though, but some.
It was an hour and 32 minutes. So basically,
Too much, some
the
might
length,
say. Not me, though.
the length of a feature film.
Probably longer than Space Chimps.
Okay, we're not. Don't bring the chimps into this, Laurel. And basically, the whole first episode is meet the Duttons, meet the Dutton family, and
anyone who's ever interacted with them.
Everyone who's ever interacted with them.
Even some people who haven't. Meet the entire population of
Bozeman, Montana.
Thank you, Bozeman, Montana.
I only know because that's where I'm going in September.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so do we just want to jump into characters and then, like, or do you have things that you would like to say about the plot?
I'll tell you.
Oh my god.
I literally. Maya just saw how many pages of notes I have.
There's a lot. It's not a good sign
it's
usually.
It's not as rageful as, like, I feel like one time we watched a show that made me really mad.
How I Met Your Mother.
I love that all this podcast gold that's happening right now. What was I saying?
I asked you said you had one nice thing to say.
Oh yeah, okay, so I started the episode, and again, I've never watched anything to do with Yellowstone before. I had no idea what it was.
Okay.
I thought I'd heard of it. I thought Billy Burke was in it, but that's something called Fire Country, so sadly. Sadly, Bella Swan's father does not appear in this show. Very tragic, but I don't even know if I got his name right. But anyway, so yeah, not only did I not know anything about the show, the only thing I did know was wrong. So the very first scene is like some sort of car accident that, as far as I know, is never explained or
Nope.
like Yeah.
Nope.
And then
no, it's not.
This guy who is apparently Kevin Costner, who is a name I've heard of before, but didn't know who he was, even though I know he's a huge star, shows up and kills a horse mercifully.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so we're going for shock value here.
I was like, okay. I was like, I'm shocked.
I know, yeah. So my first three things I wrote was, oh no, and dang, because those are the first three things I said watching the episode. And that's not a bad thing necessarily, I guess.
The first thing I said was
like, it's a little cheap.
The first thing I said was, Laurel's not gonna like this, because even I don't like this.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little cheap.
It's kind of like, I can give you peace.
Yeah, it's like in the TV show Z Nation, where they kill people when they get old because they don't want them to turn into zombies when they die, and they call it giving mercy. So. I can see Maya's editor's brain. cut. Anyway, and then after that, he just casually walks around with his gun out. No one has a problem with that because he's a well-known figure. But anyway, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
This is just living in rural USA, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually pretty par for the course, I think.
All right,
for
so
America.
Yeah, I think you're right. The only nice thing I had to say, and it's a very nice thing, because I started watching the episode and I said, already I feel like I can trust this to be a well-crafted piece of television, even if it would turn out to be not my type of story. How wrong I was. I mean, maybe I'm not wrong. It seems like a lot of people like this show.
Yeah, I
think I would have hurled myself out of an airborne hot air balloon to get away from the second episode of this show.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings and emotions. I don't think that we have dissimilar opinions, but I think, like, some of my reasoning might end up being different than yours, if that makes sense.
My reasoning is it was boring! Did that factor into your reasoning? I'm so sorry, Maya's friend who recommended this show.
Actually, no. No.
You didn't think it was boring?
I don't know. I didn't say I didn't think it was boring, but that wasn't cause for me to, like, I just knew that an hour and 32 minutes was going to be rough for my attention span. Like,
my brain wanted to crawl out my ear to get away from the show.
Yeah, there was enough for me to look at in terms of, I was like, I was like, Montana! I was like, yay!
Yeah. Okay, that's not, yeah, I did write, the scenery is very nice to look at.
Yeah. When I compared it to Breaking Bad, I was like, it's
prettier to look at.
It's prettier to look at. The aesthetic of, like, Western cowboys and indigenous people just spoke to me a lot more than Walter White in the desert and his tidy whities. Like, it just...
Walter White and his tidy whities, as Everett Rap Battles calls them, his Walter tidy whities. That didn't speak to you? No, didn't speak to me either, but... Oh, yeah, there's this one shot where there's, like, layers. You can see trees and mountains and sky, and they're all different shades because of the distance. And
yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful!
If I was just watching a nature documentary,
yes,
I think we would have been fine.
Slurp it up. Yeah.
But it was,
anytime that people were on screen, I was like, just get out of the frame.
I can't see the mountains.
Scooch your miserable little butt out of here.
Can you move?
Can you move and shut up?
Anyway,
I'm done. Let's talk about characters.
Let's talk about characters. Because there's so many. There's so freaking many. I really just wrote down all the Duttons.
And why are there so many of them?
I don't know.
Oh, I know why. Do we need a spoiler warning?
Free labor?
So they can freaking kill one of them off at the end for emotional impact. I literally watched the episode and I was like, why is this guy so unimportant? Oh, he's gonna bite it. And then he did. I was like, oh, he's so dead.
I did not realize that was what was happening.
I saw it coming. I was like, no, he's gonna die because there's no other point for him to be here.
So let's start by talking about the patriarch of the family, John Dutton. My notes are a little all over the place.
Mine too.
I was like, kind of like my initial impression was, alright, he's a stone cold cowboy badass. He's stitching his own wound up. Like, he's a family first man. And then as the episode, like, went on, it just got worse and worse. At one point, I went, oh joy, the governor wants to f*** him.
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm sure all the women do.
And I was like, okay, so, like, clearly they're setting up that this family is, for better or worse, our protagonists that we follow throughout the whole series. And here's the problem. Apart from Casey, they're all terrible people.
No, he's terrible too.
He's terrible too?
I also hate him. Nope. Terrible.
The little baby one?
Yes, the little baby one, hate him too. He does not hesitate even a second. Okay, I don't mind him not hesitating. He does not offer a single grain of emotion over killing someone he ostensibly served with. That doesn't bother you, dude?
His brother-in-law?
Yeah. Didn't they serve together because they were looking at the medals together?
No.
And sharing all of this, like, telepathic...
No, they were having a pissing contest over
I
military...
think they served together, because earlier his brother-in-law said you should respect your veterans to one of the other Dutton boys, meaning himself, I think.
Yeah. Just because they served in the military doesn't mean they served together.
Well, then why were they sharing that little telepathic thing about, like, how'd you get that medal?
Because they know what the medals mean.
I think they meant they served together, didn't it?
No.
You don't think so?
No. They set up from the beginning that they kind of both hated each other.
Yeah.
They did not serve together.
Alright, Maya's friend who recommended the show, write in, tell us which one of us is right, because I am sure I'm right.
You're always sure that you're right.
I am always willing to be wrong. Except in this moment right now. That's how sure I am.
This is unimportant. I apologize.
Veal is lamb. I'm never wrong about anything.
You've never been wrong in your life.
I've never been wrong in my life. No, I hate him too. He's gross. He has a wife who just simpers over him and has no agency outside of being his sexy wife. And he tells his son things like, oh, we don't like when outsiders come in and change things with their outsider ways. And he's like, here, Grandpa gave you a gun. That's cool, I guess. My small child, have a gun. No, I hate Casey too. I think he sucks.
Okay, I was fine with Casey, but also I know his wife, Monica, plays a large role in the series. So they didn't set her up great in the pilot. But I'm pretty sure at points she's running her own sting operation, so...
I did not care for her. Do you like how they introduced her and she was standing with, like, her shirt halfway up? Like, that's always how I stand.
I don't remember.
You probably weren't watching because you were probably brain dead when watching this episode. I'm so sorry. I had a miserable experience.
I can tell.
No, you're right. Back to what you were saying before I went on my Casey rant. They are all terrible people.
Yeah.
Casey is meant to be like the one
that's more
moral.
more sympathetic.
The more sympathetic one.
Yeah. He's the baby of the family.
Yeah, he's the baby of the family. He got away from it.
Can we talk about Beth? I've seen clips of the show on TikTok.
She's a witch! Burn her!
I thought I was going to love her. My opening thought was, I love unprofessional, problematic, bad bitch women.
She's problematic, alright.
I kind of thought that we were going to have that she's a stone cold badass scene, and then we were going to see her in her element, protecting the things that she loves, and see that other side of her, but she just got worse. Yeah. My final sentence in my Beth notes was, oh no, she's just an awful person.
She's literally never anything but awful the entire episode.
Yeah.
She's mean to everyone. Cruel, even.
Yes.
To everyone.
Yeah.
And we don't see anything that motivates her except maybe being better than her brother, whom she hates for some reason.
Yeah, which one, the lawyer?
Yeah. Seems like everyone kind of hates him for some reason. He's the only character I actually was interested in.
Yeah, I minded him... Apart from Casey, I actually liked Jamie. Because I was like,
Jamie was interesting.
Jamie's trying not to commit war crimes 24/7.
Yeah, Jamie's doing his best. He just wants his dad to approve of him. Everyone's mean to him for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
They all hate him because he's not country and manly enough.
Yeah, but he catch a...
He doesn't have the gruffness.
I'm like, he can catch a fish. He wears the hat. He can ride a horse. He's fine.
It's not enough, apparently.
I was like, just because he didn't grow a beard? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. He was the only character I was interested in, and he was barely in the episode, so...
Yeah.
I was like, I kind of dig this whole, like, his older brother is clearly, like, the favored son. Mm-hmm. His younger brother is even favored above him despite leaving the family. And keeping his son away from the grandpa. Believes she's better at him than being a lawyer, and it seems like the dad agrees. Mm-hmm. Like, he gets no... Yeah, I was like, he's still trying, and he tries to remain positive most of the time. Yeah. And he's kind of nice, where everyone else is just being horrific a-holes the whole time. The whole time! I was like, he's the only one that I would actually... I'm not saying he's a good person, because he doesn't seem to be either. Mm-mm. But, like, he's the one I'm most compelled by and interested in. If the show was about him, I would actually watch it, maybe. Yeah. But instead it's about all the other characters that I hate. And why are there 5 million of them?
There's so many of them.
Every time they introduced a new character, I was, like, getting closer and closer to just, like... stabbing my eyeballs out with a plastic fork, because I was like, I cannot take one more stupid...
Just scoop them.
Just one way, just scoop them out!
Just scoop them out!
I cannot take one more unlikable a-hole being introduced in this insufferably, excruciatingly long pilot episode. Like, you said Breaking Bad was slow. At least we got to know who Walter White was. We got to follow a protagonist and learn about him.
Listen. You and I have swapped emotions between these two episodes.
It's true.
I was like, this is a million times more sufferable in my opinion than Breaking Bad.
That's so funny. I kind of enjoyed the Breaking Bad pilot,
which is so weird.
This one, yeah, I know it is a little out of left field, I guess, but this one just made me want to. Yeah.
I think with this pilot, there's things where if it went a certain way moving forward, I would be interested. Like, if it touched on the plot points that I wanted it to carry on with, like, I would watch more.
The only way they could get my interest is if they followed Jamie and Jamie exclusively. Actually, you know what would get me to watch the show?
Okay.
It turns out it's actually an episode of the Leverage TV show, and the Duttons are the rich and powerful people that the Leverage team is taking down.
Yeah, can I follow...
Because they are horrible villains, and the show wants us to like them.
Yeah, I was like, all of the Duttons, despite being badass and scrappy and cool, quote-unquote, are in fact...
rich as heck!
Eat the rich levels of rich.
They eat the rich levels of rich!
Yeah, and they're really...
because you wear a cowboy hat doesn't make you... down to earth.
Yeah, doesn't make you...
of the people.
Doesn't make you the main character.
The rich and powerful take what they want, they take what they want.
Yeah.
They literally blew up a freaking river.
Yeah, can we swap other and atmosphere so I can talk about some of my...
Did you want to talk about any other characters?
No.
Because there are a million of them.
There's a million of them, and...
I wrote, why so many characters? Who am I supposed to care about? That's what I wrote at the end of my... Because I was trying for a while. I have, gruff, mysterious commissioner, handsome, mysterious cowboy, smarmy haircut, mean lawyer lady, and then I just gave up.
I think what was difficult was because I'll just finish talking about characters a little bit. I went into it, I wanted to root for them. Yeah. Like, I wanted to root for the cool family that's lived on this ranch for generations. And it's okay if they're, kind of a troubled family with, a dark past. Like, there's still things that make you want to root for them. But... yeah. I just... Again, it was the same Walter White effect. I had difficulty rooting for anyone. I think I had some minor sympathies, and then I was like, oh... They're clearly so emotionally constipated and broken.
Yeah.
But...
Casey seems like the type of character I would have liked, but I think
there was something
boring,
about...
And he gave me the ick a little bit. I don't know why, but the whole estranged, father-son, parent-child dynamics, that's interesting. It could be.
But it wasn't really explained.
It wasn't explained. Except that his dad seems a little bit racist, maybe? Yeah. But he also seems a little bit xenophobic himself, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of which, let's jump into other. Yeah. Because a very unique aspect of the show that I thought was the cowboys versus Indians. Yeah. I'm saying Indians in quotation marks.
Well, that's what the show calls them.
Yes. I'm like...
Even the kid growing up on a reservation calls himself an Indian. So.
Yeah.
And that was the scene that I was like, is the grandpa racist? Because he didn't like that. Clearly.
Yes. He clearly did not like that.
Interesting.
I was like, there's clearly, like, that was honestly the most interesting part of the show, because I've always been fascinated by, like, indigenous American cultures. And I'm like, I enjoy stuff like Res Dogs by Taika Waititi, which is about the kids living on, like...
I should watch that.
The reservation in Oklahoma. And I'm like, that's so much more interesting than these rich living on their million-acre ranch.
Millions, like
yeah,
tens of millions.
Yeah,
maybe more, hundreds of. I don't know. I have no concept of money, but
yeah. So they kept they set up this tension between.
I feel like hundreds of millions.
Between. Would you let me talk?
I'm sorry. No, I'm going back to tens of millions.
Oh my gosh.
No, hundreds of millions.
So anyway, they set up this tension between, like, the Duttons, the people who want to develop real estate in the valley. So that's kind of like the whole thing where they're like, we don't want condos on our land. But then there's the Native American people that are like, we just want to get what's owed to us, and we want to build a better life for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Now, of those three, who would you be rooting for?
Who do you root for?
Because it's not the land developers.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? It's not the eat the rich Duttons.
I know.
It's the Native Americans.
Oh, man.
But
they also, like, the only full-blooded Native American character that isn't somewhat villainous is, like, Casey's wife, and she's so bland in the first episode.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have any motivations other than to, like, make her husband feel better. Like, at the end of the episode, she literally yells at their kid so she can go comfort her husband.
Yeah.
Like, you're a bad person.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, sorry, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think she saw the horse with no rider and thought he was dead.
Thought Casey was dead.
Yes, because that was Casey's horse.
Oh, okay.
So that's what she was doing.
I thought she realized her brother was dead.
No. She thought Casey was dead because that was his horse.
All right, maybe valid, but
okay.
Still,
Again, yeah.
You know,
he was like, oh, heck no, I'm getting out of here.
Oh, I felt so bad for that kid. I was like, he's just an actor, but I'm gonna cry.
Anyway, a lot of my other thoughts kind of relate to, like, the Native American culture. And I said, actual Native American actors make me really happy. I said the cultural representation and celebration in a lot of aspects, at least in just, again, it's kind of weird that they're a antagonist.
Yeah.
An antagonist force. That's a little odd. I don't know how it's going to change, how it changes in, like, future episodes, but just from the pilot.
They had some good dialogue for like, sort of the clashing between, and whenever the Native American guy would have a good point, then the Dutton patriarch would just be like, I'm not talking about that anymore.
I'm not.
He'd be like, I've heard enough.
It's like trying to have an argument with, like, your conservative uncle.
He's literally like, I can't argue your excellent point, so I'm just gonna not respond.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was pretty funny, actually.
I did like that the one guy, the new chief, is Billy Black from Twilight.
I thought he looked familiar.
He's Charlie. He's Charlie's friend and who's in the wheelchair.
I was gonna say I've seen him somewhere before, maybe a couple places.
Yeah,
he looks familiar.
I was like, Billy, Billy.
Oh no, there are no werewolves in these woods.
No,
I haven't seen anything strange. Oh man, do you have more thoughts about that?
I have more closing thoughts.
I have some more thoughts to put in other.
Yeah, tell me about your thoughts.
First of all, the legalities of this. You cannot own a river. I don't think in any state in the U.S. can you own a river. It's technically either government property or it's people property, meaning that anyone can have access to it, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're boating or something, you can just boat on a river as long as
Yes.
you remain in the river.
Yes.
Because it cannot be privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
And him being like, this is Montana, we can do what we want. That's bull. That is baloney.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is fiction, but, like...
I'm like, on one hand, I was like, I love to see the smarmy real estate guy who's trying to, like, bulldoze everything and put in golf courses and condos. Like, yeah, I do root for that
like,
guy to lose. But I was like...
Okay, I don't like legal thrillers. I struggle to follow them. I didn't really understand if they were doing that just to lower the property value or if it was to actually, like, keep the water on their property so they could keep using it. Like, I didn't fully understand what their benefit was.
There was honestly a lot of things that I was trying really hard and I was not.
Because I was like, how many wildlife did you just kill by doing that? Like, that was incredibly destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're the good guys. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, yay! The Duttons.
Mm-hmm.
Go down.
Everybody in the town loves the Duttons. They've been in this town for generations. They founded this town.
Uh-huh. How many Native Americans did they found it on top of? Yeah, I don't know. First of all, I was like, that's stupid. The fact that they think they own the river is stupid. The fact that they think they can just change the course of the river without any legal repercussions is stupid.
I think that Pocahontas had a song about that.
Yeah. I also thought that some of the, like, country-ish stuff was kind of funny. Like, most of it I was like, I didn't have a problem with, but some of it I was like, this doesn't entirely ring true. Like, I feel like it's written by a city guy who
really just wants to be a cowboy.
Be a cowboy, baby. You know, like, first of all, there's, like, this was just such a tiny moment that afterward I laughed about. But there's this scene where mean lawyer lady girl kisses Casey hello, like, after they haven't seen each other in a long time. Mm-hmm. I don't think any cowboy country bred family, brother and sister, would kiss each other hello. That is a city slicker behavior right there. And, like, maybe it makes sense that she would do it after living in the city for so long, but he wouldn't accept it like that. I'm sorry. If one of my brothers tried to kiss me hello, I would probably fall over dead of shock. That's just not something we do here. And I don't think they do it in Montana ranches either. It just made me laugh. It was just like a tiny little moment of, like, city culture that I was like, they realize that not everyone does that.
Like, we want them to know that the siblings are close.
Oh. I don't like how you said that.
They're like siblings, but closer.
Call the police. No, we're not ever watching that. And there's, like, also the moment when, like, and there's not really, you could do anything about this, but the little kid when he was on the horse and he's supposed to have grown up, like, riding horses, I was like, that kid is holding on to that horn for dear life. He is not someone who grew up around horses.
My one part that I absolutely love, though, was when he threw the fish at his uncle and said, "Don't throw things at my dad, you."
Yeah, that was pretty great, actually. I was like, yeah, okay, that seems accurate. And the only other thing I wanted to say this really irritated me. But when the Native American guy comes up to Casey and is like, a man must stand with his people, I was like, he married a Native American woman, but you're saying he cannot side with you, he must side with his people? What about her?
Yeah. I was like...
They act like he owns her now, so she must go with him when he goes back to his people. I just feel like there's so many problematic things. Like, a woman shouldn't stand... And a man must stand with his people, not for what's right. Yeah. A man shouldn't stand for what he believes. He must stand with his people, regardless of anything else. Mm-hmm. I was like, there's so many problematic, like, undertones to this. Like, what the heck? I was horrified. But anyway, I'm done with other now. I just wanted to point out those things.
Okay, so let's just talk about the things that we did like.
Yeah.
And let's talk about atmosphere.
Yeah.
So as a lover of Montana, the show being set in Bozeman brings me immeasurable joy, and it made me very excited for my own trip out to Montana in September. I'm very excited.
Maybe you'll see a buffalo.
I'll definitely see a buffalo. Maybe a grizzly bear. I just love that it's set in just a desolate town in Montana. the ranch and golf course is really weird and sticks out like a sore thumb. Because I don't know if you've been to eastern and western Montana, but they're both pretty desolate.
I actually don't know I have been to Montana.
It's beautiful. I mean, you saw, we talked about it earlier. Like, it's gorgeous sweeping landscapes, and it's...
Yeah, the show portrays it very beautifully, and It
is like that. It is like that in real life. Like, they definitely captured something there with that.
I've been out west. Whatever. Pennsylvania is great too, guys.
I'm just giving credit
it's
to...
not better than us.
I'm just trying to give credit to the setting and the atmosphere because New Mexico and Breaking Bad did not freaking do it for me.
That's true. It was pretty miserable there.
I was like...
I'm sure there are lovely parts of New Mexico, but the way the show portrayed it was very dismal.
Yeah, the way the show portrayed it was like, I was like, okay.
I'm never going there.
Yeah.
No, it did make me want to go outside. And maybe, like, sit on a horse, maybe. Touch some grass. Breathe some fresh air.
I also loved, at the one auction, like, the small child that sang the pitchiest version of the national anthem possible.
I cringed so hard.
I was like, that's my culture.
Then everyone stands up, or then everyone applauds, and there's a massive American flag behind the, like, wherever they were, podium or whatever. I was like,
I was like, yep, if you've ever been to a county fair in Potter County in northern Pennsylvania, I was like...
It reminded me of when, like, I went to Barnstorm.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to a Barnstorm.
One of those baseball players.
I don't care about baseball, I'm sorry. But, like, they sing the national anthem and you're not allowed to move. You're not allowed to, like, walk around.
Yeah.
You have to stand still and take your hat off, even if you're a woman.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think women should have the right to wear a hat whenever they want. I'm like, why does this feel like a nationwide cult? Like, why are you being so creepy about it?
Yeah.
Or, like, when I was homeschooled for most of my years, and then I went to private Mennonite school when I wasn't homeschooled. So the whole national anthem recital thing...
Yeah, you missed out on that.
I missed out on that, and so now, like, when I was teaching and I had to go into these schools and they would do it, I'm just like, what the heck is happening?
What is this?
This is creepy.
You mean you didn't pledge allegiance to the flag and to the Bible? Because I did both.
Well, no, we did not pledge allegiance to the flag and the Bible. We didn't do any pledging.
I pledged a lot.
There was zero pledging.
To be fair, I think I've upheld it very well. Maybe different standards to some other people, but I think I've done quite well.
I think it's gross. And watching that in the episode, I was just kind of like... I love a lot of things about America, but this nationalism isn't one of them.
Yeah, no.
The
only time I feel like a patriot is during the Olympics. So
gross. I don't feel like a patriot, except like many people when there's an English person around. Screw the English.
So do you give this pilot a pass or a fail?
I give it a pass. Just kidding! I give it a big, fat, excruciatingly boring thumbs down fail. I would never. You couldn't pay me enough to watch another episode of this show. I will never, ever. I won't even watch clips of this. I am so sorry to Maya's friend who recommended this show, but I haven't wanted to bang my head against a brick wall so hard in a long time. Worst hour and a half minute of my TV watching life. Do you give it a pass or a fail, Maya?
Well, anyway, I give it a pass.
That's great, because I give Breaking Bad a pass.
Yeah, that was offensive to me. Anyway, Laurel, do you want to give me your closing thoughts?
I think...
about the worst pilot you've ever seen.
I was watching this show and I was getting all offended by how inaccurate it was and whatnot, so I basically was like Yellowstone Reddit. Because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what other people thought. I was like, A, I can't be the only one who feels this way. B, I want to know what the Native American opinion is about this show, because that's what I'm most interested in. Mm-hmm. And C, I want to know what the lawyers' opinions are about this show, because I didn't find any lawyers who are Native Americans on Reddit, but I did find someone who said they described the show as an extremely popular soap opera for men with cowboys, and I thought you couldn't possibly describe it more accurately than that.
That's fair.
Yeah, so thanks Reddit, always looking out. I always can find someone to be an echo chamber with me. And that's what Reddit's for.
That is what Reddit is for. Just to feel a little less alone in the world.
I'm a little chagrined at how many times I've mentioned Reddit on this podcast.
Not that many times.
At least more than once, though, and that's too many times.
How many times are you talking about it in your head?
Constantly. I cannot wait till Elon Musk invents technology that allows me to post on Reddit while I'm doing the podcast with you. What are your closing thoughts on Yellowstone, the best TV pilot you ever watched?
No, I did not say that. So I wrote down a couple quotes that some of the Native American characters said, which I think really captured a lot of my feelings. The one character said, "How can you sit there and talk about theft when you live on a ranch the size of Rhode Island?" And at one point, I think Casey says to, like, his father-in-law, he's like, "Well, if someone wants me to leave, tell them they can come make me." And his, like, father-in-law says, "That's a pretty silly thing to say when you're standing on a reservation." And yeah, I think that captures a lot of my feelings about the show, because it's too difficult. It's too difficult to root for the Duttons to succeed in preserving their billions of dollars.
Their land.
Yeah. I'll just say their money. I don't want to say their land, but preserving their sources of income when they're living on stolen land.
Like, do they realize how ironic it is that they're upset about outsiders coming in and taking their land and changing their way of life? Like, does the show realize how ironic that is? Is that on purpose?
I'm like, is that something that's going to be... if that's something that's addressed later, like, if it is sort of this thing where it's like, okay, this is going to come back around to bite them in the ass. But if it's just going to be the Duttons succeeding over and over again and getting the best of people, then that's not a show that I want to watch.
Yeah, like, maybe the show realized it was being ironic, but it really, to me, just came across as, like, a little xenophobic and just a little bit tone deaf. And I hesitate to say that because I haven't watched enough of the show
I don't know where it goes with that.
Yeah, because you're right. Like, if the show kind of portrays them to be the ones who always come out on top and you're supposed to root for them doing that, then that's gross. I'm
sorry, I'm like, that's too impossible to do when you're bordering a Native American reservation.
I know, and I don't usually buy into the whole eat the rich sentiment, but I wanted to eat those rich. They kind of just are the worst.
Yeah. Anyway, so my final thoughts are, there were definitely things that I liked about the pilot episode. I found certain concepts, specifically the Native American aspect, intriguing. And if that was something that was more, I think, the focus of the show, then it would definitely be more my speed. But I tend to swing more towards your feelings of so boring, but also like a soap opera.
A soap opera.
A soap opera that a very self-important soap opera.
It's because, like, the whole fun of a soap opera is the character dynamics, and yet the character dynamics in the show were really thin.
Yeah.
And
very dull.
All the characters seemed very individual in their goals. It wasn't so much, like, clashing or like, I don't know. Yeah. Somehow there was so much conflict and not enough conflict at the exact same time. There were too many characters. That's the long and the short of it. Yeah. You didn't. There was no focus, because it was just everywhere. You can have that many characters in a TV show, but not all in the pilot episode. You gotta space yourself out a little bit, guys. Yeah. You're not wrong. I think despite the fact that I passed this pilot and you failed this pilot, I think we have a lot of similar thoughts about it. I just felt a little less angry towards it than you did. Oh my word. I was like, I'm suffering. I texted you when I was 2/3 of the way through. I was like, make the pain stop.
And I was like, I can't help you. I'm working.
I know. I know. I was like, Maya's texting me and she's at work. Don't say that on the podcast. Oh, well, I felt like I was at work.
Well, you were, because this is your second job.
This is my second job. that I normally love. That was painful.
Anyway, once again, because this was another more negative, we had a lot of negative emotions this episode. Just a reminder that if you love this show, if you love this first episode, don't take our opinions to heart. This is just us expressing our feelings and hopefully entertaining you guys while we do it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've never liked a Western except for Firefly. And that's, a Western.
I was like, you did not just call Firefly. Anyway, I'm gonna move on from that statement.
My point is, it's not my genre.
Yes.
I don't care about cowboys. I don't like them. In fact.
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande.
I said that. You didn't even flinch.
I don't know what you were talking about. What? Say it again.
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Save a horse, ride. What does that mean? Oh! Oh! I was like, I don't get it. Just some weird song Maya knows that I don't.
Anyway, guys, on that note, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Effing It Up. We're happy to have you, and we hope you're not mad at us. And we'll see you again in the next episode.
You're a cowboy.
And as always, keep it feral. Thank you for listening to another episode of Effing It Up. If you're enjoying these episodes, please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at _effingitup_ or on our YouTube channel where we post the video format of our show. If you have content that you want us to cover, we want to hear about it. Feel free to DM us on Instagram or leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. Thank you again.